Well, greetings, YouTube model people. How's it going? Okay, coming at you here with a project update on my Mutt and Jeff buddy build. My buddy build with Jeff Trees over at Treeline Model Works. And yeah, this is obviously the VWT1 camper from Revell, scale 5, mainly because of the complexity of the kit, but also because of the amount of parts and detail in it. I assume is why it's a scale 5. We're having a great time with this kit. Lots of parts, lots of fun. And I invite you all to go check out, I believe the last video that Jeff posted was of some of the interior work on the cabinets and wall where it's wood grain. He does an excellent tutorial on how to achieve a wood grain look. And as a matter of fact, for certain projects going forward, I'm going to be kind of stealing that idea because I love the idea he's using oil paints. And with oil paints, you can kind of push and pull them around a lot easier. You can even blend them out to nothing if you really don't like the way it looks. So yeah, definitely very good to use oil paints for that type of work to achieve the look you're looking for. So yeah, and even quotes Bob Ross in the video, which I totally agree because again, Bob Ross is lots of his techniques, well, I say lots, but a handful of his techniques I definitely take into my model building too, whether it's how you clean a brush, how you pull a brush to a point with paint, or like you're saying, blending out a color so much that it's you don't hardly see it, which is what Jeff was doing in his tutorial with the cabinets and the wood grain. So anyway, let me show you what we got going on here. We've been working on two main things. I've been working on my interior, also the wood grain, and also the chassis, the bottom of the vehicle, kind of muddying it up, dirtying it up a little bit. I probably went a little too far with that than I was expecting, but I think it overall looks pretty good. So here's how I've been, I did one other project I did with, or maybe two other projects I did with a wood grain kind of look to it. And this was the process that I used. First, I would spray the parts with the, to me, a fine gray primer. And then go over that with this color here, this TS68 wooden deck tan. And again, you can use any color you want, depending how dark or light you want to use, you know, the look you want to achieve. But these are just the colors I used to get what we have in front of you here in a minute. So once we got a coat of that over, then we went over it with this Americana Craft Acrylic Honey Brown, just with a flat brush, brushing this on. You know, coverage, but not a heavy coat at all. As a matter of fact, it's best to go very light and just, you know, don't have much buildup of the paint whatsoever. Let that, it almost dries as quick as you put it on is kind of the amount of paint I used. But I did do full coverage. You don't have to do full coverage. I could have let some of this color cut through and show, or not, but yeah, I decided to do full coverage. And then over the top of that, to give it kind of that grainy look and different textures, I used the Vallejo Model Wash. This is dark brown, and it's a water-based wash. So really what we get with that, this system here is kind of this look here. This is one of the cabinets. This one goes up against the wall or against the interior of the vehicle. I don't exactly know how that goes in there yet. It's interesting. The pictures are not that descriptive from what I've seen so far. I have to take a closer look. Here's one of the cabinet doors. So again, that's the overall wood tone that I achieved with this system. We have this wall here, and pretty much everything's just sitting here. It's not even mocked up really. So this was the first piece I did just because I wanted to get a good idea of what it was going to look like. So that's a large surface area. So there's our wood grain. Again, as much or as little of the darker or lighter colors as you wish, kind of thing. Whoops, I knew I was going to drop something here. And again, I invite you to go check out Just Tutorial. I wish I could do a tutorial of this, guys, but I don't have a tripod. I use my phone as my camera. I'm hoping that maybe with some Christmas money or something, if I've been good enough to get some gifts this year, that I'll go and get myself a tripod. I could do stuff like that maybe. So again, I just have the interior just sitting here. Again, this actually fell down in the time I was looking at it. But yeah, so this is the sink cabinet. So again, there's that wood brown color. The other thing we're going to talk about here, and I'll take some of these pieces out of the way, is the flooring. I didn't want to go with like a straight color. I wanted to make it multicolored. So you could do that several different ways, obviously. What I've used in the past for a diorama was this Rust-Oleum textured multicolor paint, because it has more than one color in here. Kind of a stone look to it. It's a rough texture paint. This one's called basically desert bisque, if I got that right. I guess not lobster bisque, but desert bisque. And that's kind of like what I was hoping for, like an indoor-outdoor carpet look. Just one good thin coat of that over the plastic after it's been primed, and that's the kind of look we get for the carpet, which is kind of just what I was hoping for. The other piece is we talked a little bit about the seats, the bench seats, and the fact these are just done in the off-white, and then of course again the wood is going to be on the cabinets. But I've also started looking into, and thanks to Glue Sniffer there, Jim, I asked him about some information because I know he used something like that in one of his builds. I may put either over part of it or all of it or something, a Mexican, style blanket decal, or I actually saw in dollhouse scale, they have like actual cloth Mexican blankets. So I may just lean it over the side or whatever it is, or I might do the whole seat or half the seat. I'm not too sure. But that's kind of the gist of where I'm going with the bench seats, I think, is that like a Mexican blanket will be at least on top of there, leaning on there, or, maybe covering. I'm not too sure just yet. We'll have to see how it all looks. Front here is done. This is all glued in place, unlike the rest of it. So I probably did this wrong, but honestly, I kind of like the lack of uniformity in this case, where it's white, yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow, white, where this striping should have probably been like this is straight down the middle. But I like kind of the offset look. I think it looks pretty cool, a little funky. Being an interior like this, you're really not going to see it much. So all that kind of stuff. The shifters are in and all that good stuff. Now, moving along to the chassis. And again, I probably went a little too much on the weathering of what I was originally thinking, but I think overall it still looks pretty decent. Again, this was just over the primer gray. So this is the overall weathering we got here, and really we achieved this a couple different ways. In the back here we used a pretty heavy coat of, again, the Vallejo washes. It's called oiled earth. So it's not quite a brown, but it's kind of like a dark, kind of a mud, like a very dark mud color. Almost like oil, really. And I don't know about the earth part, but certainly looks a lot like oil. And then just regular dark brown, which I showed you earlier. And then just some pastel work with brown pastels and also a little bit of black pastels on there to give it kind of a dusty look to it. So yeah, that's the chassis. So that's it for now, folks. That's our update. We will not have an update for probably another week or so. We're going to continue on with this, and hopefully we can get some of these things finalized, like the Mexican blanket idea, see if that works, and we'll be working on some of the interior, walls and such, getting this all glued in place and all that. So that's it for now. Okay, cheers.